Well, today we started with bagged firewood deliveries for convenience stores, and from there we went to home heating wood. And before we were done, we were at a barbecue restaurant delivering for some smoked barbecue meats. So
Nice, nice. So as far as your distribution goes, for the bag stuff or even restaurants, things like that, how far are you going without having to ship something?
we go as far as MDI area south,
Hmm.
and north we're going as far as almost Millinocket right now. So we
Nice.
service basically a 40 to 45 mile radius of Old Town.
Awesome. Awesome. That's cool, So, and for folks that don't know where Old Town is, it's fairly like in the central part of Maine, and
Yep.
have you ever heard of Old Town Canoe? That's kind of where they're made or they originated from. So, but much like Old Town Canoe, kind of a worldwide brand. Russ is with Willey's Firewood. He has a YouTube channel. It's kind of a worldwide brand now, and
It's
over
getting there.
1.6 million views. And have you seen any of the statistics, like where people are watching it from or anything like that ever?
I have. So if you look at the analytics for the channel, 90% of our channel is 60 years old and older. So it's all older retired loggers and people that
Perfect.
used to do this for a living. They can't do it anymore. So they're my biggest fans. They watch to see what we're doing every single day, offer
Nice.
advice. I mean, this hat that I have on came from a subscriber. He made it for us and sent it over and saw that I had a laser. So he gave me the pattern so I can make my own. They call it the Woodhound community, but the Woodhound community is probably one of the tightest knit groups on all of YouTube. We
Nice.
do events and shows all over the country, and every show you see tons and tons of people from YouTube and subscribers that come to the shows to hang out. The camaraderie is really, really awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that there's something I heard that over at the Samoset this weekend or something. It's like a fun fire, logging convention or something like
Yep.
that. So
Yeah, they're doing something with the Maine Lumberjack team over there. We're actually sponsoring some of that event over there. So Willie's Firewood has their hand in that. I try to do as much for the local business and the local area as I can.
yeah,
At the end of the day, we're still just a small business, so we still got to
yeah,
pay our bills first.
right, right, right. So obviously we're not getting ahead of ourselves, but let's rewind. Where
Sure.
did your journey with firewood begin?
I started doing firewood when I was old enough to run the handle on the log splitter for my grandfather. So probably when I was 4 years old, maybe a little bit older than that. And from there, I've been doing it my whole life. It was something growing up that I didn't necessarily enjoy. It was something I was made to do. And a little backstory for me: I have a degree in electrical and automation technology. And I spent the better part of my early working career running a large commercial bakery in Old Town, Maine called LeBreeze Bakery.
Hmm.
Um, and in doing that, I started a little firewood side hobby, and it grew and took off. And we've been selling firewood for going on 14 years now. The official business and LLC was formed in 2016. And from there, we've just continued to grow. Now we do a little more than firewood. We also offer material deliveries for mulch and loam, compost, landscape materials. And recently, in the last year, we started selling commercial log splitters, firewood processors, and forestry equipment. So we've grown quite a bit.
That's awesome. Now, are you manufacturing that, or are you basically like you've endorsed a certain brand,
Yep.
etc.?
So we actually are selling for three different companies. One of them is right here in the United States, Allwood Log Splitters. They're a veteran-owned and operated company based out of Petersburg, Michigan,
Hmm.
and their claim to fame is the world's fastest log splitters, and that's true because I have the fastest log splitter on the planet sitting right in my yard here in Old Town, Maine. So
Wow.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think I saw on one of your videos, what was it? 50 cords out in one day or something like that.
In a week. That was Gramp. So
Oh,
my grandfather's 78 years old. He cuts every stick of firewood we sell, and he's the YouTube star. That's who everybody
yeah.
wants
I
to
saw him with the
watch.
little red
Yep,
stick.
it's
This,
the
yeah.
Gramp Stick. Yep. So everybody calls it the Gramp Stick, and we had a subscriber. He actually named it the Gramp Stick, and then we had another YouTube channel that actually made a bunch of laser engraved sticks for us to sell. And he said you can sell as many as you want, but you can't make a nickel off them, and you have to sell them for as much money as possible. And I was like, doesn't make sense. What are you talking about? He goes, all the money goes to charity and Gramp gets to pick the charity. So I said, okay. So I asked Gramp what he wanted to do, and he doesn't cut enough wood as it is. So he wanted to start a firewood bank or a firewood cupboard for those that are low income and need help. So we've partnered up with the Maine Veterans Program with Doc Goodwin over there.
Yeah,
And we're going to help out the Maine Veterans Program. Right now, we've got 24 full cords of firewood that we can donate so far next year, all from donations that have come from YouTube. So pretty
that's
cool.
awesome. Yeah, that's really cool. So did this start out as a business idea, or was it just something uh, that you kind of grew into? Obviously, you started when you were really young, but
Yep.
when did you decide to kind of, make it as a side hustle when you're working at Labreeze?
So I always burnt firewood to heat my own house, and I never really burnt a whole pulp truckload of wood. So I'd always have 3 or 4 cords left over,
Yeah.
and I'd usually give it away, or somebody in family would need it or whatever. And I thought, well, I ought to try selling some of this and see if I can sell it.
Mm.
And I did that, and within a day of putting it on Facebook, it was gone. And I was like, well, that was quick. Maybe I should get some more and try it again. And from there, it just kind of snowballed. And now we do over 1,000 full cords a year. So it definitely took off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think too, a need that I see. I sometimes do some camping, or I'll go to folks' house with insurance. They might have a big pile of wood somewhere, but those you know what you I don't know if you still have it in your front yard, but like the little stack place where you can stack the wood and stuff like
Yep, the
that.
roadside racks. So we
That
have
could be,
roadside racks that are
yeah,
cast and carry,
yeah,
and the community loves those because we have a lot of people that are on fixed incomes, can't
yeah,
necessarily afford a full cord of firewood at a time. They'll come grab $30 or $50 a week or every other week, whatever it is. And we sell almost as much wood out of the racks in the wintertime as we do loose for
right.
actual home heating deliveries. So those have been very good to us over the years for sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, if you could get into the rack selling business, just like the pure rack, like that
So
that
we're
might be
working on
something.
that. We're working with
Yeah,
another local Maine business down in Pittsfield. It was actually an old employee of mine from when I ran Labreeze Bakery. He started a welding and machine shop.
yeah.
So we've got some pretty cool stuff coming that he's working on with us. I don't know if you've ever seen a rocket stove. So
No.
he's working on building a rocket stove. It basically burns small chunks of firewood, and you can cook on it, plus heat with it too. And you can pack them
Mm,
right up and put them in the back of your vehicle when you're done. So we're gonna
nice.
we're gonna be working with him on selling some of those. He found us on YouTube again, just like most people have lately,
Yeah,
and reached out and said, "Hey, I've been thinking about doing this. Do you guys want to partner up?" And I said, "Absolutely."
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, so when did you say to yourself, all right, this isn't just firewood, this is a real operation now?
Probably 2016. It got to the point that I had a accountant that said, "Hey, look, you're doing a little too much of this side business. You've got to do something different here." And she recommended an LLC, so I said, "Sure, let's go for it." So in 2016, March of 2016, we formed the LLC and started the business. And from there, the rest is history. We just continue to grow a little bit more every year.
Yeah, that's awesome. So here at Workhorses Win, we always talk about the dusty boots moment. That's the time when, maybe the wheels came off, when the rain soaked everything, and maybe you almost folded. Uh, what's one that might stand out to you?
So in 2021, we had COVID was kind of still in effect. Everything was going on. Everything was different. We had a firewood processor at the time that had about a $1,200 a month payment on it. And the companies that we had gotten logs from had either folded up and gotten out of the woods, or there had been health issues. So we weren't able to get logs anymore to supply firewood. And it got to the point that it was, we got to do something different. So I sold the processor. I toyed with the idea of folding up firewood altogether, but we were able to keep a little bit going. And in doing that, that's when Gramp came back around. When I had the processor, I think Gramp thought he got put out of a job. And I think everything happens for a reason. I'm a firm believer in that. So I think I grew too fast, too quick, and that was the universe or God's way of saying, "Hey, you weren't listening." And when I went back to doing what we had always done before, everything clicked and it just worked so much better. But in 2021, we were seriously contemplating, shutting down and doing something different. But when we went back to our roots and what we know, it took care of everything. And, since that point, I don't think there's ever been a time that we've had to worry about any of that anymore. It seems like anytime that there's a need or something that needs to be filled, it just clicks and it works and it's taken care of. So it's been really good since.
Yeah, kind of a blessing in disguise. Do you think that obviously I've heard you talk about your Gramps before, but as far as the time that you spend together now,
Yeah.
it is do you feel like your relationship's even stronger, as
Yeah.
the years have
So
gone by?
you talked about my wife a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
She came to me and she said, "Hey, look," she said, "I want to start my own business." And I was like, "Well, how are we going to do that? Somebody's got to have insurance because we have four small children." And she's like, "I don't know." So we looked at marketplace options and it was just so expensive. I was like, "All right." I said, "Listen," I said, "I've done this before." I said, "I'll go pick up a job for benefits and I'll keep running my business besides and we'll figure it out." So I went to work for the town, the city of Old Town. Great
Hmm.
group of guys to work for, great job. If I ever had to go and work for somebody again, I would go back in a heartbeat. It was a really good job. I enjoyed what I did. But every day that I was there, when I got out and I was coming back to do firewood, it didn't matter how tired I was. I just had more fun doing the firewood. And
Yeah.
I saw my grandfather, he was 75 years old at that time, and he worked harder while I was at work to try to make sure it was easier for me when I got out. And, he really enjoys doing it. It's his favorite thing to do. He's my alarm clock every morning. He's my hero. There's no sugarcoating any part of it. I learned what I learned from him and he taught me what it was like to work. So I happened to come across ACN Health Share and I bought my own insurance and went back out on my own October of last year full time and really put my head down and focused just on firewood, nothing else.
Hmm.
And I said, sink, swim, or go. I want to see what we can do with this. And it's continued to grow beyond anything I could have imagined. And that was the same time we started the YouTube channel.
Yeah,
And
that's
the
what I
YouTube
thought.
channel has, really taken off. You look at a lot of YouTube and a lot of people do YouTube for clicks. They're not doing it because it's something that they're recording while they're working. They're doing it for clicks and they're doing it because somebody's giving them a product and they have to put it on the channel. We're the complete opposite. When people see how much wood we actually produce every day, you have the hobbyist side of firewood where they might do 10 or 12 cords of firewood a year and it's mostly just to make content for their channel. And then
Hmm.
you've got the other side, we do 10 or 12 cord of firewood every other day and we're
Hmm.
doing it to pay our bills, and the YouTube stuff is kind of a side stream. So once they saw that, that really took off, and that opened up the doors for us to be able to sell that equipment that we sell now. When manufacturers saw how much wood we actually move and how much we produce, and the fact that we use our equipment, we use it hard, they saw an avenue to test new machines. They saw an avenue to put new machines out to the public so they could see them, and it really opened up a lot of doors for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So during that, the tougher time, middle of COVID and stuff like that, what kind of kept you going through that stretch, and what grounded you?
The people. So 90% of our customers are still using this for home heating. So it's community. It's the community that's around you. And when you have a little old lady or a family that doesn't have much, and that firewood that you're delivering is what's keeping them warm and
Hmm.
keeping them happy, it really doesn't matter how bad of a day you're having or how tough it is. When you can see them excited and happy to see that load of firewood show up and it's going to keep their house warm, that's what makes all the difference for us. I mean, if it wasn't for the community that's around us and that supports our business, we wouldn't do what we do anyway. I mean, the community makes my business. Without them, I don't have a business.
Hmm. Yep. I think it can go to people's head, if they become famous or whatever, So uh,
There's
I'm just
nothing
glad to
here. There's
see
nothing special. I'm just a big guy in suspenders, Charlie. That's
you.
it.
Hey, well, I don't have them on. I sometimes hide suspenders under my
We'll have
vest,
to get you some
So
Willey's firewood suspenders. You can
yeah.
wear them around.
Oh man, have you gone through some different suspenders in your life? I have a hard time. Sometimes they'll just blow out, and you
Yeah,
have to.
so I found I like the Carhartt suspenders the best. They
Yeah.
seem to be the toughest. They hold up the best. I've had some cheap ones and they don't last very well or they don't attach very well, but trust me, everybody likes that I have my suspenders on. It's just better for everybody that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's way better than a belt. The belt, it
Oh
feels
yeah.
like it cuts me in half because I got a
Yeah.
nice big belly. So
Yep. No, I feel your pain, buddy. I feel your pain. I'm with you.
yeah. All right. So we already talked about this a little bit, but you have over 1.6 million views on your YouTube channel. I
Yep.
think I saw it was like 550 videos, and obviously, I think have you been cutting some stuff up into shorts and things like that, like a little bit shorter snippets for
We've
people, or
Yeah, we've tried the shorts. The problem with the shorts is they really don't pay. So unless you
oh,
get a
okay,
short that goes viral, there's really not a lot of money in it.
yeah,
And I record everything from my phone because I try to keep everything as simple as possible.
yeah,
So you have to record your shorts in the opposite direction as your long form video. So now you're manipulating cameras, and it's a lot of work that I don't want to do.
yeah,
So I'll do some shorts every now and then to kind of tease into a longer form video every once in a while, but
yeah.
for the most part, it's a long form video, and we try to do a long form video every day now. And we've been
Hmm.
trying to do one every day since last October. And then Wednesday and Sunday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, we go live every Wednesday and Sunday. And that is when you can really see what the Woodhound community is. I mean, when we first did our first live, I think I had 20 people that showed up, and I was like, yeah, all right, this is okay. We've got, 150 to 200 people, at random times in and out, and as many as 350 people that'll pop in when we're doing that every Wednesday and Sunday now. Everybody's checking in with each other. If anybody's got a
Hmm.
question or anything like that, it's just a great group to try and get some knowledge from and to solve the world's problems one stick of firewood at a time, I guess.
Right, right. Yeah, and what was it like watching it blow up and was it slow and steady for a minute till you hit a certain number of subscribers, etc., or how did that go?
It's been fairly organic right through, and I've had an opportunity to do some stuff with some bigger channels and with some promotion and things like that, and I've
Hmm.
declined it each time because I feel like letting the channel grow organically is the best fit.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to blow anything up. There are a bunch of channels out there that have blown up. They'll get really big really quick. But if I look at the analytics, I have more watch time with my fewer subscribers than they have with their hundreds of thousands of subscribers
Yep.
because we've built a fan base. They look forward to those videos every day. And as long as it continues to grow organically, then that means we're doing something good, and we'll just keep doing what we do.
Yeah. That's awesome. If you're building a business brick by brick, protecting it matters too. From general liability to workers' comp to commercial auto insurance to even commercial property insurance. That's what I help workhorses do every single day. Feel free to reach out anytime at workhorseswin.com. Now, let's saddle up and get back to the show. And obviously you had some different products and things like that that have organically grown up. But did the visibility bring any other new opportunities, any customers here in Maine, or any other
Yep.
partnerships or events? Obviously, you said that, but what was surprising or stuff that you really were happy about?
So we got a phone call from a local restaurant, Blaze Restaurant in Bangor, and they said, "Hey, we see that you sell firewood. We're looking for a firewood supplier." And I knew they had a supplier. I knew who the supplier was, but they wanted to try something different. And because of the YouTube channel and somebody from their restaurant seeing it, that kind of opened up the door for us. And so now we service the Bangor Blaze Restaurant. So that was a local business that found us that way. But there's been a lot of larger businesses or larger companies that you don't necessarily think would be watching you that all of a sudden pop up, and it's like, hey, do you want to try this? Or hey, you want one of these to put on your channel? And it's like, where'd you guys come from? You know, you don't see them subscribe, they're not commenting, but it just goes to show that they're always watching. So, I think staying true to what you are and just doing what you do. Don't try to be different for anybody. I'm
Yeah.
no different than you are. I put my pants on one leg at a time and I grunt each time I put a leg in. So I'm no different than anybody.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you balance filming, editing, and still delivering loads and managing your crew?
I've got a pretty good system down, and my crew is small, and we've worked together long enough. We all know what needs to be done, so that works out pretty good. Typically, Gramp is an early bird. He's here at daylight, so he's my alarm clock. So when I hear the chainsaw fire up, I usually throw a pair of boots on and throw a pair of pants on and go get my sweat going.
Yep,
And we'll record some while Gramp's there cutting, and then I take and come back inside and I'll usually edit some videos and whatnot for a little bit until Kevin, my little helper that works with me, he comes over, between 10 and 11 a.m., somewhere in there. So it gives me a couple-hour window. I can answer emails, put machine quotes out, do whatever I need to do a little editing. And then when he gets here, we go out and we do it again. When he goes home, it's usually early afternoon about this time where we're doing this now. He heads home. I go in and I finish my video for the next day. I upload it, make sure that it's ready to go, schedule it, put it together, and then we just repeat the process all over again.
that's awesome. So yeah, so I would say that's a pretty typical work week for you, but maybe not for the rest of the world, you know.
No,
And
it's not for the rest of the world. I mean, if I figured out dollars and cents what I'm getting paid per hour to do YouTube, somebody would tell me I'm crazy because I think they're probably getting money from me before it's all said and done.
well, geez, yeah, but there are worse things to do, you know.
Oh yeah,
So
absolutely.
yeah, and I mean, you're also located, Old Town's a big deal, but you kind of live in the Pea Cove neighborhood,
Yep.
which historically that was a log boom basically
Yep.
back in the day, and really, really an important piece on the you know, in the lumber industry back in the day, So, uh, did your family or, have any heritage back then too, or was it kind
Yep.
of something that your Gramp started in the 50s or something like that?
So both of my grandfathers both worked in the woods at some point in time in their life. My grandfather that cuts wood with me, he always worked at the paper mill in Old Town while I was growing up, and on the weekends he worked in the woods cutting for a cable skidder crew
Hmm.
because it was his favorite thing to do. My dad's father actually logged with horses because he was older, and his first job was peeling 4-foot pulpwood. They used to peel the bark off in the spring because they'd get paid more for it if it didn't have bark on it. And he started at like 8 or 9 years old working in the woods, peeling pulpwood and lugging pulpwood out. And then my great grandfather on my mother's side, he worked in one of the logging camps up near Sherman, up in the Golden Road area.
Hmm.
So my family's been in logging. My grandmother always told me I was born 100 years too late because if it had been 100 years earlier, I probably would have been right in the heydays and in my glory. But I think even as a whole now, even though the market has changed, there's a lot going on with firewood, and there's more than just home heating firewood. So we've branched out with a bunch of different products. We do smoker woods for people with backyard smokers. We do bundle wood that we sell to the stores. We do little tiny tabletop firewood. Hang on. Little 4-inch firewood for your little tabletop stoves.
Hmm.
We sell fire starters. Fire starters, that's something that took off and kind of went all across the country. I didn't expect it to do what it
Yeah.
did. I just, I was on one of the Facebook groups for firewood sellers and I said, hey, I've got these. Is anybody interested? Next thing I know, we're shipping them all over the country. So
Wow. Yep, that's awesome. That's awesome. So obviously there's a lot going on with firewood, like you said, but what do you think's the most underrated or the hardest part of firewood work that people don't see on YouTube necessarily?
the preparation, all the maintenance for the equipment and the trucks and the saws and just all the preparation that it takes to get going. And like I said, a lot of the people that watch my channel are older, so they understand the work that goes into it. They've done this as a living before. And they kind of live vicariously through us now, but they see Gramp at 78 years old out there and he's older than some of them. He's actually encouraged some of them to go start their own firewood businesses again. So
Why
I've
not?
got people that are in their 70s and they got little roadside stands in front of their house and they're selling bundles of firewood. I've got one guy, he sends me a weekly inventory update for what he's got done for the week and what he sold. And, it's just kind of cool to see stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's amazing. When you're out there, like I don't know, I've had stacks of firewood before, and sometimes creatures live in it because it's a good
Oh,
spot to
yes.
hang out. But
Yep.
with that being said, when you're out there, cutting and stuff, you ever see anything peculiar or find any cool stuff,
Well,
out in the woods?
I found a baby raccoon in a piece of firewood one time that was in a tree, and when we cut it up, he kind of froze and just stayed where he was at. And we ended up taking him to a animal rescue. That was probably 10 years or so ago now. But he survived. He made it, and he ended up in an animal sanctuary somewhere. So
Nice.
that was kind of the biggest thing that we found in a tree. We find a lot of old metal objects and things that trees have grown around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if it's on the edge of a field or something like that, you'll find spikes or you'll find pieces of metal or pieces of tools, all kinds of stuff kind of grown in trees because the trees will just grow around what's sitting there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
So obviously you have the suspenders, and you like the Carhartt suspenders. You have some of the the equipment that you're working on, splitters and things like that. What
Yep.
other equipment are you using right now on a daily basis?
So we use our pickup, we use our dump trailer. Our dump trailer does all of our deliveries. So we just bought a brand new dump trailer from Scotch Recreation or SR1 now, as they've
Hmm.
been bought. Really great company to deal with if you're looking for a trailer. I don't think you're going to get a better price anywhere in the state. Because
Yeah.
I shopped around. I hate to spend money, so I did my due diligence and I shopped around, and they were the best deal around. So, excellent deal on that trailer. We use our chainsaws, so that's one of the things too that because of what we use for chainsaws, it opened up another business opportunity for us. We are an affiliate with sawsuppliers.com. They saw Gramp running Echo chainsaws and they sell Echo chainsaws. And they said, "Hey, would you be interested in a partnership with us?" And I said, "Well, how's it work?" And basically, for every chainsaw that we sell through our link that we put in our link tree on our videos, we get a small portion and a commission of that. So, what I told everybody on the channel was, I'm not looking to make money off you guys buying something. So, whatever we make for commission, we're going to take that and we'll buy something new for the channel so that you guys all have something new to see. So when we get enough money, we just go and buy a new saw or a new tool. And I can
Hmm.
say that it came from sawsuppliers.com. And if we get too many saws, which I don't think that's a possibility because the right number is always more, but if we do, then we can sell some or we can give them away as a giveaway on the channel or something like that. Because honestly, that with the YouTube thing, it's the subscribers watching that make everything work. So without them, there's really no reason for me to be doing videos and to be doing this other than for my own enjoyment. And honestly, it's not that enjoyable if we're not getting anything out of it. So,
Right, right. Now you've said a little bit every day goes a long way. Where did
yep.
that mindset come from?
You can't, the best way to eat an apple is one bite at a time.
Yeah.
And, when you look at that, when you look at a great big pile of logs sitting in the yard, to think, geez, I got to do all this today. No, you don't have to do it all today. But if you do a little bit every day, it doesn't take very long and that pile of logs is gone and now you're working again. And it's like I tell everybody in my videos, my little bit every day is much different than your little bit every day is going to be. I do this every day for a living. I'm conditioned to it. Even though I'm big and fluffy,
Hmm.
that doesn't mean anything. I do this stuff all day, every day. It doesn't bother me. I really enjoy it. But for somebody that doesn't do it, going out and spending a half an hour might be more than they want to do. But if they did a half an hour every day, you would be amazed what that pile is going to end up looking like at the end of the week with just that little bit of time. So a little bit every day goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So where this is, has caught on quite a bit. Obviously, like I don't go to Bar Harbor often, at least in the summer. I try and
Yeah,
go
I don't blame you.
when the tourists aren't there. But every time I drive by, I see that Timbertina, show there.
So we're going to
Um,
be going down and hanging out with Timbertina.
oh, good. Okay, I was
So,
wondering if there was a collab maybe on the way, or if
yep.
there are any other like YouTubers or podcasters or anything like that, in the state or the region that you guys are going to be, maybe doing a little bit with, like maybe the lobster guy or something like that.
Yeah, so there's a company that came to my wife's open house, and they're doing a video collaboration because this is the 30th anniversary of Timbertina's Timber Show, and we're gonna do a little two-part series and a vlog and a bunch of video footage and all that stuff, and we're gonna go down and hang out and do some stuff and kind of do a little collaboration with them. And work with another local Maine company to put it all together. They work with nonprofits and things like that. So that ought to be pretty interesting. I think that's a couple weeks. That's coming up in a couple of weeks. So,
I wonder if your Gramps, if he could meet the at some point, you know, uh, Ginny Oliver, the she's like the 103-year-old lobster lady,
yep,
that
yep,
I mean that would be interesting,
yep.
it'd be
I've always wanted to try to get Gramp on camera and get him to talk because so many
yeah,
people have questions. But he's a man of few words. He
that's
works and
good though.
leaves,
Yep.
and I think that's part of the draw to him is that he just comes and works and goes.
Hmm.
But the things that I've learned from him over the years, I mean, I'll always buy an old guy at the store a cup of coffee because the things that you can learn from those old guys is just incredible. Don't
Yeah.
don't ever pass up a conversation with somebody that's older than you because you can always learn something.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And you've been pretty open about your faith, and how
Yep.
does that shape how you run your business?
Uh, we don't have a plan. You can have a plan or think you have a plan. The plan's not yours.
Mhm.
The plan comes from upstairs and from the guy up there. So if you just let him do what he wants to do, he'll take care of everything. Like I said, there's been plenty of times where I was wondering how in the heck are we going to do this, or I've got this coming up and I need this much money. It's always worked. Ever since I just did what I was supposed to do or what was right, it's worked, and I haven't had to worry about it. So,
Mhm.
I don't stress about it anymore. It is what it is. It's gonna find a way to make it work, and we'll do what we got to do. But it's really cool to see sometimes how things work out the way that they do.
Mhm. Absolutely. Russ, for folks listening, where can they find you, follow you on YouTube, or get in touch?
Yep. So you can contact me at woodguywilly@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube at Willey's Firewood. You can find us on Twitter at Willey's Firewood. You can find us on, oh, where else are we? Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're just about everywhere. I haven't gotten real good with the TikTok yet. The TikTok, that's a whole different animal too. So someday maybe I'll have one real good chainsaw video and people really like it. But that's another one where you got to kind of go viral to get any kind of return on it.
Yep. And I heard you're launching an OnlyFans.
Yeah, OnlyFans. Yeah, whatever pays the bills, Charlie. We got to
Yeah.
pay the bills. It's not just firewood, buddy. Yeah.
Uh, so services you're offering right now, deliveries,
Yep. So
from
so
Millinocket
we do
to
firewood
yep,
for recreational and home heating use.
yep.
We do mini firewood for tabletop fire pits,
Hmm.
smokers. We do pizza oven wood. We do restaurant wood. Basically, any type of firewood that you could possibly need, we've got it, and we can take care of you no problem.
Hmm.
And then early spring, right now, from the end of April to the end of May, we do material deliveries. So we do bark mulch, compost,
Yep.
loam, stuff like that. But it's just for that short window. And then when that's done, that's our busy season for firewood. So at that point, it's full steam ahead. So.
Hmm. And where could someone buy a Gramp stick?
So if they want a Gramp Stick, you shoot me an email, woodguywilly@gmail.com. We will gladly get you one. All proceeds go to the to Gramps Woodshed. So Gramps Woodshed is going to be our nonprofit, and that's going to help keep veterans warm. And if they don't have enough need to use up that firewood, then we'll find another person that's in need. We'll make sure it all gets used. So it's all going to a good cause. I think right now, like I said, we're at about 24 full cords that we can donate next year. So that's a lot of warmth to be able to donate, and that's all come from the generosity of YouTube, basically. So,
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, I'm amazed, about this, but obviously I've known you for a long time, and I know what kind of guy you are, and it's really good that you found, you finally, well, you've caught on pretty good locally, before YouTube ever happened, but I would
yep,
say that it's good that the world's recognizing you, kind of giving you your flowers and all that good stuff now, as
Yep.
well.
Yeah,
Um,
and I'm not
yeah,
looking for any recognition. I'm just looking to bring people to work with us every day, and that's
yeah,
that's what I tell people on the channel. You're not going to see fancy sound effects or lights or real fancy editing, all these smoke and mirrors. There's none of that. We just we'll set a tripod up, and you guys come to work with us. That's what it is.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And on the horizon, obviously, I think you're always talking to different companies and things about sponsorships, this or that,
Yep.
but anything that you can give us a sneak peek about that might be coming in 2025 or 26 that's on the horizon.
So, coming next week to Bangor to the Northeast Forestry Expo, Typhoon Forestry Equipment, which we sell firewood and forestry equipment for, has a brand new firewood processor that is mobile, and it's the first of its kind in the world. It is built onto a fully road legal DOT log trailer. So, when you get to where you're going, four outriggers pop out, you pull the trailer out from under it, set the processor down, and now you have a fully operating log trailer that you can go pick logs up with or feed your firewood processor with. So typically before you would have to haul a tractor or a skid steer or something to load that firewood processor with. But with our new design, you can pull everything in one shot, set up, and be processing firewood in 5 minutes without having a second piece of equipment. So that's
Wow.
the first of its kind anywhere in the world right now, and it's going to be right in Bangor. We'll be at the Northeast Forestry and Firewood Expo May 16th and 17th. That's a Friday and Saturday. So if anybody's interested in any of the equipment that we sell, they can stop by and look for the suspenders. I'll be there.
All right. So, well, yeah, I think tighten those suspenders up and get ready for that expo, and very, very happy for you. Any last words or thoughts or words of wisdom, inspiration that you can give our listeners?
No, just a little bit every day goes a long way. Help someone if you can. That's the way I end every one of my videos, and that's the best way to go about it. It
Yeah.
doesn't cost anything to help somebody.
Yep, that's what we like to hear. And thanks so much, Russ. And thanks. Let's stay in touch and look forward to talking to you again soon. All right.
Sounds good. See you,
All right.
Charlie.
Thanks. Take care. Bye bye.